Hello, and thank you so much for watching another video from me. Today I am filming another podcast, so let's get into podcast episode number 10. Hello, and welcome back. If you're a returning viewer, if you're new here, welcome. So I am filming another podcast episode. I do these about once a month to show what I've finished in the past month, what I'm working on currently, anything that I've purchased related to knitting over that month period. And then I typically also add in some inspirations that I've had over the month for, a certain pattern or designer that's really sparked my interest or something else like that. So we'll do that, and then my progress on my 2024 knitting intentions. So fun video ahead. I want to say a few things before we start off. So first of all, I hope you all will bear with me today. I have not filmed in a month. I pre-recorded a few videos, so you've seen me more frequently if you do watch regularly. But I have not sat down and filmed in a month because I was first in Tanzania for work, and then I came home for 36 hours and went to Alaska and Canada on a cruise with my grandma. So wonderful time. I've had a great June. Felt very weird to go from the equator to very, very north within, a week period. I have a photo of 1 week ago, and then the next week where the 1 week picture, I'm on a beach and looking at beautiful, beautiful environment around me where there's tropical birds and I'm in a jungle, and the next week I'm at a glacier. So very weird time I've had over this past month, and very rewarding, but I feel a little rusty. I also, does not help that, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I did get COVID on my cruise. Remember to mask up. We are unfortunately still in kind of a pandemic. So I'm a little sick right now. I'm feeling a lot better, but you might hear in my voice that I'm not 100%. I'm still a little bit tired, a little bit brain foggy, and a little stuffy. So I'm gonna try to edit out as much of the sniffling or coughing. I'm really not coughing anymore, but as much sniffling as I can. And hopefully my voice sounds okay. I'm also going to try to take frequent breaks to both save my brain and my voice so that you're not listening to me ramble on or my voice get increasingly froggy. So hopefully that works out okay. I apologize in advance if you hate the way I sound right now. Can't really control it, but I really wanted to film and say hello. So hope that's okay. I also wanted to say that I'm normally not a numbers person for subscriber counts or anything like that, or views. Ultimately, I care more about interacting with people, so I'd rather have 10 people that are actually interested in what I'm talking about and interact with me than 2,000 people. But I did want to say that we did hit 2,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. It is crazy to think that there are 2,000 people who care about my knitting or are interested in the videos I put out. So thank you so much for being here. That does mean a lot. I've thought before about trying to do some sort of giveaway or Q&A. I don't know if any of that sounds interesting. Please let me know. I want to celebrate that. It is nice to have that two-way interaction. So if you're interested in a Q&A video or anything like that, that's more formal where we can kind of have a conversation, let me know. I don't know, I'm playing with the idea of doing some sort of giveaway. I know they typically attract a lot of bots or scams. So I'm I don't know if it's worth it, but if that would be something that you would be interested in, please let me know. I want to make it, a thank you to the people who watch me, not just a way to attract new people, especially new scams. So let me know what you think of that. Maybe I'd give away a skein or two of yarn, something like that. So toying with that, nothing formal yet, but let me know what you think. I do want to celebrate that and celebrate being connected with a bunch of other knitters around the world. It's amazing. So yeah, that's some admin. And with new people, I did want to quickly introduce myself. I realized I've never actually formally introduced myself on this channel, and you're about to see a cat butt. Let me push that. So hello, my name is Sarah. I live in Colorado with my boyfriend and my 2 cats, who are frequent guests on this channel. My cat's not my boyfriend. He hates being on camera, but Fig and Kepler, I'll have little pictures up of them. And I've been knitting since July of 2022, so I'm about to hit, or I have hit, like my 2-year anniversary of knitting, or longer. No, yeah, July 2022. I started posting almost a year ago, July 2023, so we're hitting that milestone too, which is cool. I do have a full-time job. I work in global health. I do proposal development to raise money for the work that my organization does. I don't really want to say too much about it, but I do work full-time and I love my job. That's, why I was in Tanzania, was for work. So yeah, very excited to be here. Excited to be with you all. And let's start talking about yarn and knitting, because I feel like I've been talking for like 6 minutes and haven't shown any yarn. So let's get into that. So like I said, this is the normal podcast, and I'm going to start off with my finished objects, which I have a ton of because I have not filmed a podcast in quite a while. So the first thing I finished since the last time I've posted is this pair of socks. I'm doing a pair of socks every month, or trying to. And so these were my April socks that I finished in late May, but that happens. And they are the intersection socks by Marceline Smith. I made them with the Yarn Addict free range fingering in Speckled sheep. I love this color so much. And yeah, they look like this. They have this really cool cable on the front. This was my second pair of toe-up socks as well, so that was fun. It had a different kind of short row heel construction, which I really enjoyed, and they look really long, but they do fit me, so that's good. And I like cabled socks because they cinch in a lot more, and I like a tight-fitting sock, so I love the way these fit. I love the 2x2 rib at the top. I love the cables, and the yarn is stunning. So I'm really happy to have finally finished this pair. They were on my needles for over a month, mostly on hold during that time, but finally got them done, and here they are. So that was my first finished object. I feel like I don't have that much to say, but yeah, they've already been in a podcast before, but there they are done. So that's awesome. My next finished object, and Fig is very much in the way of my finished object pile, is my Eva cardigan. So I think this was also a whip in my last podcast, but I finally got it done and I love it. I have worn it so much. So it is the Eva cardigan by Petite Knit. It's a very popular pattern. I knit mine with a superwash DK base called Druid DK by the yarn dyer Apothecary Fiber Co. She has since closed her shop, but it was beautiful yarn. If you ever have a chance to get a hold of any of her yarn, she now has just a personal account. I think it's called Moonflower Stitches. I don't know. I'll link it down below if you are interested in looking at her and following along with her. I don't know if she'd ever dye yarn again, but this is from her. It is on her Druid DK base, and the colorway was called Dust Bunny. So it's just a beautiful kind of grayish beige or grayish color. And yeah, I love this cardigan. The buttons on it were also given to me by Marlene Knits. I've watched her and subscribed to her for quite a while, and she did like a little giveaway for international audience to say thank you for a certain subscriber count, or I think she just had extra buttons. I don't really remember what the giveaway was for at this point. It was few months ago, but I won that giveaway, and so she sent me these buttons. They're from Pigeon Wishes. They're just like resin buttons, but I really like them. I like that they're fully flat. A lot of the plastic or resin buttons will have that kind of well into them, and I prefer the flat look. So yeah, I think the buttons add a lot, and I love this cardigan. I have worn it so much. I brought it with me to Alaska and wore it a ton. So I just posted some pictures in it. I'll put a picture up of me wearing it as well. But yeah, a lovely make. I really enjoyed making this cardigan. I think it's got a really cool construction, which I think I talked about last time, so I won't get too into it. But it's very cool. You can kind of see that it's almost, I describe it as almost a hybrid between a drop shoulder and a raglan. So you end up picking up stitches for your sleeve, but then you also have some stitches already on your needle and you end up working a raglan for part of it. So I think it made a really nice fit. And then it's got the nice 2x2 rib details, nice button band. And one of my favorite features is that you just do a normal cast off on the button band. And I think that the edge here just looks really nice. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Love this sweater. Will be wearing it forever. The yarn is also so nice to just have like a super washed garment. I feel like I have to worry about it a lot less than some of my higher care garments where I have to really think about washing them carefully. This one, I mean, if it got really dirty, I could throw it in the washing machine if I really needed to. I still am like just soaking it and letting it dry, but it is nice to have that option. So it's great. I love it. Not too much else to say. I think a million people have knitted it before, so it's not revolutionary. My next finished object is this pair of socks. These are the Honeycomb and Moss socks by Summer Lee. They're from her recent book, The Sock Project. I love that book, by the way. I got it because of Ash's from Smash Knits review of it, and it's a really good book. It's got some really great patterns in it, and so this is the first one I made. It's a nice pair of shorties. I love a summer shorty, and has these beautiful honeycomb cables with a moss panel on the front, and then nice ribbing. It was a toe down sock, or cuff down sock, and was really easy to make. I found it, honestly, the one thing that I will say about the book is there are no charts in it, and I love charts for my cables, my lace, my color work. There are color work charts, but everything else, like cables and lace, are not charted. I prefer charts, so I ended up making a chart for this cable just because it was easier for me to follow. But other than that, I do really love the book. This pattern was well written, and I got a beautiful sock. The yarn that I used for these is called Mermaid Parade. The colorway is Mermaid Parade. The base was Baby Paca by The Wandering Flock. But yeah, beautiful sock. They're really comfortable. They're really soft. I love this base. I've worked with it before. It's got some alpaca content plus the superwash merino and then nylon. So they're still really stable for sturdy for socks, but they are just like really soft. So yeah, love these socks. I think that it's so fun. It was so fun to knit with this yarn and see just all the little neon specks coming through on the neutral base. I was laughing with, again, Ash from Smash Knits, because she right now has a Lumi sweater on her needles that is kind of in this beautiful, like, I don't know how to describe the green, but it's a pretty, like, it's not chartreuse, but it's a paler green. It's not quite sage. It's a little bit more yellowy than sage. I'll try to find a picture of it. And then a cream. And so it's those two colors. And I posted these and she immediately responded, was like, they look beautiful. So we were messaging about it. And I was saying, like, these socks are kind of my Ash project because they've got these little pops of neon that really remind me of her. And then I got the Sock Project book because of her and her review. So I was saying, like, this is my Ash project, and she had her Sarah project on her needles because they were colors that reminded her of me. So it was really cute. It was a fun little knitting friends moment. And yeah, these are my Ash socks, I guess. And yeah, I'll try to find a picture of that. But yeah, I love the neon. It felt slightly out of my comfort zone to work with like a neon. But also I love the fact that there was this kind of like pale minty green as the majority to make me just feel more comfortable working with a neon, because normally I am like a pastels only girly. So this was a good foray into bright colored knitting. I kind of want to like make a pair of neon socks or something now, but stick with these for now. Thoroughly enjoyed these, and these were also my May socks for the sock a month kind of deal. So very much enjoyed. They were quick. I love a shorty for many, many reasons, including how fast they are. So there we go. My next finished object I actually don't have. My mom, I'll have some pictures up. She very kindly took some pictures for me, but my mom started this shawl called the Nolani shawl. It's by Laura Dobratz. Over a year ago for Mother's Day last year, she got this yarn and started them, or started the shawl, and it was a shawl knit with alternating between slub and mohair, and slowly increasing in size at different areas to make this kind of interesting shape. And it was really hurting her hands to work on it. She just is a lot tighter of a knitter than I am, so sliding the mohair across the needles, and it was on US 10 needles. So between sliding the mohair, which was really tight across the needles, and working on that larger needle with a smaller yarn, it was really hurting her hands to do it. And so this project kind of got put to the back burner for a long time for her, and she eventually, like a few months ago, asked me if I would finish it for her, because she really wanted it done for the summer and wanted to wear it, but couldn't do it with the hand pain it was causing. So I agreed to do it for her, and I finished the last half of the shawl in about like a week and a half. It wasn't too much knitting left on it, really. And yeah, it was really fun to make, and she was really grateful to have it. She specifically wanted it for her book club, which was in like late June, but I had to finish it before I left for Tanzania, so I was kind of rushing to finish it. So I knit on it a lot very quickly, and I got it to her before I had to leave the country, and then she went to Austin right before her book club in Texas, and while in Austin also got COVID and had to miss her book club. So she ended up not able to wear the shawl that I like rushed to finish, but whatever, it's still off my needles, and I wouldn't have wanted to take it with me on my trips. So I'm glad I just got it done, and it was fun to work on, and I'm really glad to have been able to like help her out, because she really wanted it finished. So it was fun. Yeah, it was a good project. It was a really interesting construction too, and very interesting to work with the slub. So overall, fun, pretty easy. And I'll have a picture up of it because I don't have it because I gave it to her. And I wanted to like take some pictures of her wearing it or get it back so I could show it here, but we both are now isolated in our homes and can't see each other. So there we go. But yeah, there is that information of the Nolani shawl. My next finished object I made a whole video about, and it's this. This looks really tiny. It took me months and months because I made all of the yarn. So this was a spinning project first, and here's the little bit of yarn I have left from the spinning project. Pretty proud of the yarn. This was all hand spun on a Turkish drop spindle, over, I think I started this spin in March. So it took me about, I think it was almost exactly 3 months to spin the yarn, ply it, and then knit something with it. The knitting something with it took a day. But yeah, I made this yarn over 3 months, and then I knitted it into a little scrunchie and this little hair bow. So let me separate the two. So for this little hair bow, I did use a pattern. I used the Dahlia hair tie. What's the exact product? Dahlia hair bow. It's by Isabel Cecilia. It's a free pattern I've talked about before, but it's just this little bow that you make that you can then tie in your hair like this, and it's got this flat section in the middle, which I really like to be able to tie around your hair and not have the bulk. I decided to also make a scrunchie to go with it, so I could tie this around the scrunchie and put that in my hair and have the little bow off of it. So I just freehanded the scrunchie. It's just you just make a circle, and yeah, you just knit in the round on a little circle until you're happy with it. I wanted it to be in garter to match this, so I knit one round, purled the next round, and then just when I was binding off, picked up, yeah, I didn't do a provisional cast on. I just cast on with a long tail, and then when I bound off, I picked up each stitch and bound them off together to make this scrunchie. I know that's not very detailed. It was really easy, but there are a ton of free scrunchie patterns if you're interested. I'll link one that I've used before that is in stockinette. So yeah, it was a fun little project. It was fun to learn to spin. I won't talk too much about it because I did make a whole video about spinning and making this specific scrunchie, but it was fun. It was cool. I think I am going to buy an e-spinner because drop spinning, like doing the drop spindle, is really hard on my body, and this took me 3 months to make this much yarn. So I'd rather be able to, you know, use the yarn I'm able to spin a little bit more, make larger projects with it. So I might buy like a mini e-spinner, or I have a family friend who offered me a spinning wheel, so I might do that in the future. But for now, I made that, and I'm proud of myself for it. So yeah. The next thing I made is very exciting. It is what I'm wearing. I free-handed this sweater, or did it without a pattern, and I wrote it up. So I might release it as a pattern. I don't know. I think that's a lot of work, but I do think it's a really cool design and I like it. So let me know what you think. If you would want to knit this sweater, I'll put in some pictures so you can see the full thing. I know I'm sitting down in it, but it is a raglan sweater with a v-neck. That's what I really wanted. And then has double ribbing on the cuffs as well as the hem. I also have a split hem on it. That of course could be optional if you wanted to make this, but I made a split hem for myself. And then I have a double folded neckline here on the v-neck with the nice decreases and everything. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm happy with, like, I did tapered sleeves, and I did different kind of decrease in my sleeves, and they're still, like, you can see the decreases, but I think they're a little bit more invisible than some other decrease types, so on the sleeves. So I'm pretty happy with designing this, and I did it while traveling. Like, this was my main travel whip, and I was able to keep up with it, and I'm pretty proud of myself. So I'm kind of writing up the pattern. I'll probably make another sample. Let me know if you would want to knit this. Like, I'm kind of trying to gauge interest in the pattern because it's a lot of work to, you know, write up a pattern, grade it, test it, all of that. So wouldn't want to do that without actual interest. But I am proud of the pattern. I'm definitely making one for my mom. And maybe in the future I'd release it or do it now. Let me know what you think. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. I knit it out of, I have a label. Look at me, being a good podcaster. So this, I knit it in Yarn by Poppy and Spruce Fibers. She's a local to me dyer, and I've sample knit for her before. And so actually after my last sample knit for her, I had some money towards the yarn I needed for this. Not enough. I did buy a fair bit of the yarn for this sweater, but what did have like a offset from sample knitting with her. And so I used her new base, which is the Birch DK, and the colorway is Hey There Sporgeous. So this is from her I Liken, or is it Leakin? I don't know. I think it's I Liken. I heard someone pronounce it differently while I was traveling, but I think it's Lichen. I Liken You a Lot collection, which was inspired by moss, lichen, mushrooms, all that kind of stuff. And so the colorway, Hey There Sporgeous, I kept calling it my peach yogurt yarn because it really reminds me of like peach yogurt. But yeah, I love it. I love the yarn. It's so soft and comfortable. I love the colorway, and I'm really proud of the pattern. So yeah, please do let me know if you like this, if you'd want to see it in a pattern. that might be coming in the future. I just love a raglan, and I made the raglan wider as well than a lot of other patterns. I mean, of course, other patterns have this. It's not a revolutionary design, but I like my little raglan. I'm happy with it. So yeah, very, very content with this make. And yeah, let me know what you think of it. I would love to hear more. And then my final finished object, gosh, I've been talking for almost half an hour just about finished objects. That's crazy. Is this pair of socks. These are not blocked yet, so they might be a little bit lumpy. But these are the Surf Wax socks by Summer Lee. They're also from her sock project book. And I made these as a gift for one of my good friends for her birthday. Her birthday was in June, so I haven't given them to her yet because I was traveling and now have COVID, so I haven't seen her. But I do have these socks for her. So these are the socks. They have this really cool chevron pattern throughout. I really like kind of this gym sock cuff as well. Of course, was optional, but I wanted to do it. Just a normal heel flap and gusset. And then the cool thing that I did with these is I knit them with Tweed yarn. So I use the Tweed base from Loco. This is another local to me dyer that I'd been wanting to try out for a long time, and so I did buy the yarn for these. The base is called Tweed Sock. It's 85% merino, 15% nylon. 85% merino, and then 15% is these nylon little nips to make a nice tweed yarn. The gray is the color Earl Gray, and I lost the label for the green, but I know I have it written down on Ravelry, so it'll be linked, or it'll be written down below what the color is for this kind of teal green. But I really enjoyed knitting these up. It was fun to work with tweed, and the pattern at first I felt like was really hard, but I picked it up pretty quickly and was able to do it without the pattern, like without the instructions in front of me. And yeah, made these socks. It was fun. I got a lot of attention for making these socks. I was knitting them like for part of it, I was knitting them on a beach in Tanzania, in Zanzibar, and so got a lot of attention from locals asking what I was doing, and then was also knitting them on a boat to go see fjords in Alaska, and also got a lot of attention. So here we go. Those are my socks, and they were really fun to make. Moving on to whips. I'm working on some sample knits right now, and so I can't actually show them because the colorways are secret. But I have 2 sample knits for Paisley Knits. She's a great dyer. So here's her Instagram, and I can say I'm working on a pair of DK weight socks for her and a little scarf for her. And then I will soon be working on a sample knit as well for Little Fiber Co. Used to be the Yarn Addict. I'm waiting on the yarn still. Hopefully it comes. I think it's coming Wednesday this week. It's Sunday now, but it's a sample for Flock Fiber Fest. So that'll be cool to work on and have something I made at Flock if I can't go myself. And yeah, those are kind of my main whips. Can't show any of them. You'll see them, once they're posted online by those dyers. I'll share them in my own podcast, say here's a finished object, but can't show them. So yeah, not very exciting whip section, but a lot of excitement in the finished objects. So sorry. Next section, acquisitions. I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I have very few acquisitions, I promise. So we'll go through them. The first thing I have is this sample yarn from Salty Blonde Fiber. Well, it's yarn, but I got it for sample knitting for her. Part of my compensation for making a shawl for her in May was yarn. And so this is her summer blend. It's alpaca, linen, and silk. It's 50% alpaca, 25% linen, and 25% silk. It's a non-superwash base, and I love this base. I've worked with a similar one from Zakami Yarns before and love the way it feels. The drape is amazing. And yeah, excited to work with something similar again. And the colorway is Mojito, and I think it's the perfect blue. I'm really excited to work this up. I'm planning on making the Moonset Tee by Ozetta with it, and yeah, once I'm through my sample knits, that'll probably be the next thing I cast on. Although I do also have to make a pair of socks for the month of June. It's July 7th and I haven't made my June socks yet. So I'll have socks and that, that top on the needles next. But yeah, love the yarn. It's very soft. Not much else to say. And then when I was in Alaska, I did pick up some yarn, of course. You have to. There were unfortunately no yarn stores in Tanzania. Unbelievable, right? That in a hot weather developing country, there are not yarn stores. Crazy. So I didn't get any souvenir yarn from that, but I did pick up 2 skeins from my trip to Alaska. So these were both picked up at the same yarn store in Ketchikan, Alaska. It was called Fabulous Fiber Arts. Here it is. It was established 2018. It was a really cute store. If you're ever in Ketchikan, highly recommend going to it. And I got 2 skeins of yarn while there. So this is the first skein I got. It's a DK weight skein, and the colorway is Blueberries in June. It is from the dyer Round Mountain Fibers. And this is her botany collection. She is based in Vermont now, but the dyer here was a former Ketchikan resident. So bought this. It is a superwash merino DK weight base. And yeah, I just love the colors here, like especially this little patch I think is beautiful, and the name of the yarn just really spoke to me. So loved it, wanted it, and I have it. I think I'm going to make a hat with this. We'll see exactly what I want to make when it's time, but I do think that it would look nice close to my face. So probably some sort of hat with this, which is fun. The other thing I got, this was also from another former Ketchikan resident who's now a dyer elsewhere, Ember Knitting hand-dyed yarns. And this base is like kind of a luxury sock base. So it's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And it is a fingering weight for socks. So I'm definitely going to make socks with this. I love having tonal yarns to do lace work or cables or other more complex designs where there's still some fun color dimension, but it's a lot less variegated. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy working this up. I also love the cashmere socks. So excited to work with it when I finally have the chance. Maybe I'll do it in August for my August socks. My mom's birthday is in August and her favorite color is purple, and so the socks would be for me. They wouldn't be for her. But August always reminds me of the color purple because August reminds me of my mom and my mom reminds me of the color purple. So maybe these could become my August socks, but we shall see. But it is so soft, and yeah, I love it. While I was at that yarn store, she also, when we were checking out, since we were, that was our first time in the store, she gave us, both me and my grandma, these little stitch markers. So they say, I know it's backwards, but it says FFA, which was Fabulous Fiber Arts. They have the logo, which is this little sheep, and then a little cutout of Alaska. So it's a really cute little stitch marker, a great little souvenir, and free. Amazing. So I really enjoyed going to that yarn store. It was fun. My grandma's also a knitter, so we both had a very fun time there and got cute little souvenir stitch markers along with our souvenir yarn. So that was amazing. And I already mentioned this in my finished objects for these socks, but I did pick up this yarn as well, again by Hugh Loco. It's the Tweed base. This color is Earl Grey. I don't remember the color name of the other one, but I have those as well that I purchased since the last time we spoke. So those are all the things I bought. Not too many things. I know that I'm kind of on a yarn ban and I just showed a bunch of yarn, but I don't think yarn bans work for me. Honestly, I've done pretty good and I've cut down a lot, but a little purchase every now and then I don't need to feel guilty about. So yeah. My inspirations for this month, things that have really sparked my interest for knitting, have first of all been the Mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller. This is a beautiful pattern. I love the cut of it. I love the different rib textures. I think that it just looks so professional and so well done. So I'll have a picture up, but it's beautiful. I'm really debating making it over the twisted rib. Oh my gosh, the twist loop top that I've talked about before. So debating between those two now because I love the mixed rib. I think it's incredible, and I think Florence Miller is a really great designer. She also has a knitting podcast as well, so it's nice to, see her work as well and follow along with her podcasts and then see her patterns. So enjoy that. My other inspiration this month is honestly old men. I was on a cruise, and the predominant demographic for Alaskan cruises is old folks. So I was surrounded by a lot of old men this week, or the past few weeks, and they have such great sweaters. Like, there were so many sweaters that I wanted to take pictures of so badly. There was this old man with this like patchwork sweater. It was a cardigan, and it had like houndstooth patches and cable patches. It was so cool, and it was all different knitting. Like, it was all knitting, and it was incredible. And then there was this other man with like a wide, it was like wide sections of stockinette, and then would have like a little column of broken rib, and it looked so good. Like, just so many great sweaters on these old men. So I highly recommend checking out old men styles. I think that's like a trend now of like eclectic grandpa is kind of this, but it's some great sweater inspo. If you are looking to design yourself or anything like that, or just like get some inspirations for patterns to search out, like, look at your local old men. They might be rocking some amazing sweaters and give you some good inspiration. So I feel like that's a really weird source of inspiration, but listen, check it out. Don't knock it. They've got some great sweaters. So yeah, those are my inspirations for this month. And then I have some progress on my knitting intentions. So in 2020, or at the beginning of the year, I set, I think it's 11 intentions, maybe it's 10. I set 10 intentions for myself for the year for how I wanted to engage in knitting, engage in podcasting and filming, all of that. So I have those 10 intentions that I'm going to quickly go through today, just give a quick update on how those are doing. So the first intention I had was to explore new fibers. And since the last time we talked, I haven't really done anything new in this. I've really been in just knit, just enjoy it. I have limited time. So, this is a merino. I've worked with merino a million times. Everything that I showed today is fibers that I've already worked with before. So nothing really new and exciting there, but that's okay. Not every intention is going to have progress every month. That's part of progress, is sometimes it stalls or flows, so that's okay. Bringing my stash down. I did buy more yarn this month, so the major part of bringing my stash down for me has been to stop buying yarn, and obviously I just showed a bunch of skeins of yarn I bought. So I haven't brought my stash down this month, but I really haven't brought it up too much. And I also knit this sweater with the yarn that some of it had been in my stash for a few months. So I'm happy with that. Like, I am intentionally getting things out of my stash. This sock yarn had been in my stash for quite a while. This yarn had been in my stash since December. So I am happy with, like, if I bring in new yarn, I am knitting it pretty quickly. And I am planning projects with the yarn that has been in my stash for a while. So it's okay. Like, I'm working on it. And I don't plan on really buying any more yarn for quite a while. So happy with that as well. My next thing is knitting from patterns I already own, and I have not bought a single pattern since the last time we talked. So that's great. I knit a pattern from scratch, and otherwise I've used the the pattern books I have for socks a lot. I haven't knit a single pattern for socks outside of my either 52 weeks of socks book or the sock project book. So really happy with that. Have not had to buy any knitting patterns, which is great. expanding my knitting knowledge. I mean, I made my first pattern from scratch, or my first project without a pattern, I should say, and I'm really happy with that. I think that really did expand my knitting knowledge and my kind of thinking, and having to think through like every decision in a sweater design was very cool, and made me feel a lot more confident as a knitter. I didn't try any like new stitches or anything this month, but that's okay. I wanted pretty simple, outside of, designing. Making more socks. I am behind on my 12 and 12 or the socks a month thing, as I mentioned, but that's okay. I did make a pair of socks in June, but it was this pair, which is a gift, so they don't count as my 12 and 12. So still making a lot of socks, and I'm going to catch up on my 12 and 12. So that's fine as well. Wearing my knits more often. Well, for this month, being in Tanzania, that was not conducive to wearing knitwear. So for 2 weeks of the month, I just couldn't wear any knitwear. I didn't even bring any with me. I didn't even bring any pairs of socks with me. But in Alaska, I wore my knits a lot. I was kind of actually wishing I'd brought more knits. I brought the Eva cardigan, I brought 2 pairs of socks, and then I also brought my brioche cardigan that I have. And I wore those a lot. It was great, perfect little cardigans, sweaters for Alaska. I do wish that I'd brought more because they were perfect to just like throw on a cruise and feel fancy, but also be very comfy. So wore them quite a bit. And yeah, I wish I'd brought like a pullover with me. I think that would have been great, but that's okay. I didn't. I also wore my socks that I brought quite a bit as well. So it was good. It was a balanced month as far as, I didn't wear them at all at first, and then I wore a few a ton. So yeah. Knitting less. I knit quite a bit less this month. Well, at first I knit quite a bit less when I was in Tanzania. I was there for work, and so I was working long days. Like, I think I was working mostly 9-hour days, some 10-hour days, and then it was hot and I didn't really feel like knitting every day. And then the one weekend I was there, I went to Zanzibar, and so I was touring around in Zanzibar and snorkeling and swimming and stuff. So I didn't really knit a ton while I was in Tanzania, but then flying home, I knit a ton. And then in Alaska, I knit a ton. So pretty balanced again here, but I did knit less when I had less time and I didn't stress out about it. So that was nice. Having fewer deadlines. I haven't had a single deadline this past month because I physically could not handle any deadlines between all the travel I did. But this month, I do have 3 deadlines already for different sample knits. So I need to not accept any more sample knits and stick to those 3, not add anything else to my schedule. But that's fine. I feel comfortable with the amount of responsibility I've given myself in knitting for this month. And I'm also getting better at self-imposed deadlines, and like, I didn't knit my June socks. That's fine. I'll knit them in July. Like, letting go of those kind of artificial or arbitrary deadlines, I'm getting a lot better at. So good on me for that. And finally, my last intention of the year has been to have more community and less content. I haven't really been online in the last month with all the travel I've done, so I haven't had a lot of content, but I also haven't had a lot of community online, knitting community. I was engaging a lot with Ash from Smash Knits. I know I've mentioned her like 3 times in this episode now. I sound like a fangirl, but she just comes up a lot. So we were talking fairly frequently and scheduled a Zoom knitting session together, but then I had to cancel because I had to travel very suddenly to Tanzania. So I need to reschedule that with her. But I think that is a really great step to have, like, actual knitting friends online, not just, engage through text, but be able to actually meet with someone on video is going to be really exciting. So I hope to schedule that soon. And then otherwise, like, I want to further connections with others. I mentioned at the beginning of this video, like, asking what I can do to be more connected. I'd love to, do a Q&A or something. I don't know. I feel like that sounds conceited to like be like Q&A, but a lot of podcasters will do that. So if you guys are interested in learning more about me or like sending me questions to answer, happy to do that. Or giveaway or something, like whatever would make you all feel more engaged with me, please let me know. But trying to foster that more in my own little community, and then in the broader knitting community, I want to comment more on Instagram posts. I comment on every knitting YouTube video I watch, so that's good, but I need to watch more knitting YouTube videos because I've been too tired. But I'm going to watch a few today, I think, after I film this. And yeah, I feel like I'm rambling at this point. But sometimes I do recommendations for non-knitting things at the end of the videos. I don't really have any this month. I guess I recommend getting out of your comfort zone. Like this last month was definitely out of my comfort zone for me. And I feel really good. I feel like I really expanded my own world, and made myself feel more comfortable with changes in my routine. So I'm really happy to have done that. And if you are also like me and love your routines and love being in your home, I do recommend getting out of it every once in a while. Going on a trip if you can, especially like as far away from home as possible. Just see like how different the world can be. I know that's like a crazy expensive recommendation to just make, and like a world-changing recommendation, not a world-changing, but like a life-changing recommendation to just be like, go to a different continent. But like, I don't know. I think that I benefited a lot from getting outside of my own little world, and I felt a lot more excited to come back to my life and feel a lot more grateful for this community, knitting, my work, like everything around me, my boyfriend, my cats. I just feel more grateful for it after having traveled for so long. So highly recommend, if you can, traveling more. Revolutionary. What a unique recommendation. But that's kind of the main thing that's been on my mind this last month. So that's what I can say. Oh, and I recommend Irish music, like Irish folk music. On the cruise I was on, there was an Irish folk band. We were their groupies. My grandma and I went to them every single night and we're like requesting songs. The song Caledonia, so good. So I highly recommend checking out Irish folk music. That's been what I've been listening to lately, and it's been great. So yeah, I guess those are my very weird recommendations for this month. And I will see you next week for another video. I think next week I'll upload a video about designing the sweater, so you'll probably see that, unless I film something else. We'll see, but I'll see you next week. So yeah, thanks. Happy to be back, and thank you all for being here. See you again soon. Bye!